Hey, it's Charlie at Charlie Slybox, and today is our first installment of the Ask Charlie series. And we threw this out a few weeks ago. If you have questions, you can email them to askcharlie@charlieslybox.com, and we'll filter through them. We got a bunch of good questions on this last go round, and we got a whole bunch of dumb questions. So try to do better. We're going to save up those dumb questions. We'll answer those all in one rambling go, maybe after a glass of whiskey, and we'll have some fun with that. But in the meantime, the question that we are going to cover today is from Charlie Sanity. And his question is, what's the difference between a cheap soft tackle Indian hen neck, for example, and a good whiting hen saddle? I'd rather get several colors of the cheap stuff than one expensive piece. And it's a great question, sort of posed a little incorrectly. What he asked is the difference between a hen neck and a good whiting saddle, two different pieces of the bird. So I'm going to tell you what the difference between a generic India hen saddle and a whiting genetic hen saddle is. And to start with the India hen saddles, these are super common. I use them tons. I use this for tails and legs on a two-bit hooker. I use them on tails for hare's ears. I use them for tails on any variety of nymphs. These are super useful feathers. They're not very expensive. They come in natural colors. They do come in a few dyed colors, but the natural colors vary a lot, so you can get dark ones, light ones. Almost all of them are beautifully modeled. That's one of the coolest things about them. But an infinitely usable feather. This is a really good thing to have around your desk. Um, the catch on these is you're relatively limited on the fiber length and the overall length of the feather. These are pretty short little feathers with short fibers. So, there's a few bigger feathers here at the top of the saddle. Or as that is, that'd actually be the bottom of the saddle. But there's a few longer feathers there, but just not very many of them. This is going to be something that you can make a turn or two of size 10 soft tackle with, but not a 14 on this thing. So limited in feather length and barb length. They're going to be a little on the big side. As opposed to this, for example, is a Whiting Hebert wild type hen saddle. Same kind of bird, but genetically grown. So these feathers are grown to be much longer. They're very webby. I've got one plucked out here. Very webby. The wild type is just as beautifully modeled. And they have got some variegation to them as well. So, and some variation among them, as you get different ones. These come from between whiting, the regular red label stuff, and the Hebert green label stuff. They're really about the same in the hens. There's not a huge difference between the two, other than the colors. Whiting has got most of the grizzly stuff, and you can get that dyed in a variety of colors. Where these feathers are going to come in really nicely is they've got really long feathers. So if you were going to palmer a hen feather on a bugger or a gonga, you can see how long that feather is. I could probably do a size 4. I might need to use another feather for the collar, but I could probably tie a size 4 out of this, where these feathers are just disproportionate and not anywhere near long enough to do a fly like that. So more tails and legs on an India hen saddle. If you're getting into more streamer stuff or even using them for tails, these Whiting and Hebert saddles are going to be a better bet. Really nice modeled feathers, bigger saddle also, so lots more feathers on the saddle. And to cover his original question, which was the difference between the cape and a saddle, or as I'm going to read it anyway, the difference in a cape and a saddle. So this is a hen cape. It still comes from the same bird. This is just her head, the back of her neck. This little V here fits along the crest on top of her head, so that'll kind of give you an idea how that sits on the bird, kind of wraps around like so. What you'll get out of a neck versus a saddle is a much wider range of sizes. A saddle might have feathers that are, 8s, 10s, and 12s. Maybe on some of the really good whitings, you'll maybe get a 14 down at the base of the saddle. On a neck, you're going to have feathers from size 20 up to size 10, a full range. Not near as webby as what the saddles are. They're still pretty darn webby. That dark center stripe on that feather there is all web. Still pretty webby, but not near as webby as the saddles are. But perfect for flies like prince nymphs. Anything that you're going to tie with a soft tackle in smaller sizes, a cape is probably the way to go. I have people ask all the time what to use to tie a size 20 soft tackle because everybody's trying to use partridge. A blue dun-colored hen neck will work perfectly for that. Very soft, very sparse, good length on the feathers. When I was a kid, hen capes, barnyard hen capes, the feathers were about a half an inch long and pretty terrible, really. This feather here is eyeballing it, I'm going to say a size 14. Easily 2 prin stems out of that, maybe 3. So lots of length, really thin stem. That's the other thing that they grow these birds for, is to have that thin stem. So infinitely usable. This is something that you should have around your box too. This is something that you can use on anything that uses a soft hackle feather. You know, brown, grizzly, blue dun. Have a few colors like that. Again, much more larger package, more feathers on a genetic bird than on a barnyard bird. Not to say the barnyard stuff's not usable. I don't find that barnyard capes are really all that usable, to be perfectly honest, but India hen saddles, that kind of thing, super usable. Beyond that, go with the whiting stuff. I think it's much better quality. So that's our first question, and I hope that answered it. And like I say, if you've got more, please send them to us. We are rifling through for the good ones. And again, just send them to askcharlie@charlieslybox.com. Thanks for watching. There'll be more.